Morning lovelies, happy Friday. Tomorrow's Friday Ascension update, and yeah, it's starting to get progressively more warmly dressed as we kind of proceed over the next kind of few weeks and months or so. So what have we got today? With my Monadic Invocation on Monday came a flurry of questions, and although I've covered the subject before earlier on in the year, maybe some of you haven't, maybe some of you have only joined kind of recently, or haven't discovered the kind of the website, my website, www.timwild.com, which I'll include the link for at the end of this, because all of these videos that I put on Facebook and on YouTube on a Monday and a Friday, some of you might be just restricted to Facebook, some might be to YouTube, but my website goes all the way back through. At the end of every month, there is a monthly newsletter or an update, and everything gets put on the website. So I think it was back last March, I talked about the monad, what the monad is. So the invocation, for those of you that missed it, was I am the monad, I am the light divine, I am love, I am will, I am fixed design, which I first read in Joshua David Stone's Ascension manual. It was also included in Diana Cooper's book, A Little Light on Ascension. It is a well-known and well-loved invocation for connecting us to our mighty I am presence. I am is a very powerful statement to the universe. The words I am embodies the energy for which you are invoking. So I am the monad, I am the light divine, I am love, I am will, I am fixed design. Once you've said that 3 times, you have embodied the presence of your higher self. So the term monad is quite specific, okay, and the way that I would describe a monad is an oversoul, okay. So if you imagine an accumulation of all of your lifetimes, you've had thousands upon thousands of incarnations, not just on planet Earth, but throughout other times, other spaces, other kind of dimensions. All aspects of you will have discovered and basically investigated all corners of the universe, especially if you're an old soul, and most of you listening to this are old souls. We know what the deal is by now. We've been round the block a few times, we've been there, seen it, done it, and we're here on Earth for the final experience because we're skilled and we're extremely knowledgeable with what we do. And it's just the whole Earth process pertains to waking up and remembering in the middle of what could only be described as very deep hypnosis. So imagine your monad or your oversoul as a collection of personalities, and these personalities have served time and time again. So say, for the sake of example, Merlin and Saint Germain, both of these are recognized and well-loved ascended masters, but they are 2 totally different people, but they're not. They are the same person from the same oversoul. So Merlin and Saint Germain incarnated at different periods of time, holding different rays, different aspects, but they were the same person, but in a different body with a different personality. So this will be the same for everybody on planet Earth, especially on the spiritual pathway. And you will have others from your soul group and your monad who are also parts and aspects of your highest, it goes beyond higher self. The monad it's basically all of your brothers and sisters throughout space and time, and you are all interconnected. But there are many different monads, and it spreads these soul personalities far and wide. What I'm seeing and what I'm picking up on at the moment is many of us are all gathering here together because this is such a specific event. Earth going through this ascension process at the moment is very specified, and it requires a lot of very skilled hands on deck, which is why you're here, okay? So this particular incarnation is very, very special. It's this was particularly highlighted to me during reading the Seven Beloved Archangels Speak, the set of workshops that I run with my good friend and colleague David Essery. And there was one part that was described, I think it was via Archangel Michael or Archangel Jophiel, I can't remember exactly now, but it was repeated throughout several of the chapters that all of the people incarnating now on Earth for this movement from 3D to 5D, the Great Awakening, the stepping into the golden era, that we are now, me included, and you listening to this, are at the end of a long and very arduous set of incarnations. So most of these incarnations would have been based on Earth as training for what we are experiencing now. So it would have been Earth reincarnate, Earth reincarnate, Earth reincarnate, working through all the karma, working through all the lessons, working through all of the experiences, most of which let's be realistic about this, most of them were fairly traumatizing. They're safely stashed away in the Akashic records now, and we're having to clear what we didn't actually clear the last time round. We're also having to clear for our families. We're the end of the kind of the karmic lineage, because we've left that wheel now. All of the karma that was accumulated, finished with this incarnation. All of the children that are being born at the moment, they're being born with a clean slate, and it's self-generated as we're going along, because the way that karma is actually works out on this planet is now very different from the way that it used to be. So all of you, the masters, listening to this, sat there thinking that couldn't possibly apply to me. I'm having a horrible time at the moment. Everything's really challenging. Everything's really testing. What on earth could I possibly be doing in a master incarnation? Well, this is it. If you think about the souls that we regard as ascended masters, the great ones, guys like Serapis Bey, or incredible warrior goddesses like Kuan Yin or Lady Nada, all of them had human lifetimes. Jesus and all of these people, they had very human existences, and at some point during their incarnation as a human being, they would have gone through a process of tests, initiations, and inevitably enlightenment in order to step onto the pedestal that we regard them as now. So looking at it from that point of view, we are the masters of the future, okay? We're the ones that are now writing our names in the halls of Amenti that people in the future will refer to in different times and different places when they are going through a similar experience, or need something to refer to that they can reflect back on. What we learn it will be immortalized. What we discover during this period of time, this 20 years, this transition, this jump ship from 3D to 5D, will, as we are experiencing it, is being written in golden letters in the halls of Amenti, and this will be basically a platform for other planets or learning systems to go through the same process that we've been through. So that is a description of what I see as a monad. So a monad is that accumulation of soul personalities and you and me are one representative of that soul personality. And it's so when we finish our incarnation here, we will report back to our monad with everything that we've learned, and the expansion of that monad will take place, because we've learned something unique. We've experienced something that nobody else has experienced before. So that experience goes back and ultimately returns to source. It's when you think about it on that sense, it's just like it's almost like we're here reporting for duty, and then we go back with what we've learned and discovered and what we've achieved. Now, the other question that I had was the question about the words fixed design. Okay, I wondered this to start off with. What's a fixed design? Surely nothing is completely fixed. And that again is very specific. I am the monad, I am the light divine, I am love, I am will, I am fixed design. Now, I am love and I am will are fairly self-explanatory. I am love and I am will. Your will is what sets the intent for your manifestation. Okay. Now, fixed design refers to the Adam Kadmon blueprint, our bodies. Okay. So 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head, hopefully, and all of the other things that define a human being in physical form. Now, an unfixed, or what I would call a fluid design, would be something like, say, the Pleiadians. Now, if you've ever communicated or connected with a galactic from a higher source that are basically described as light beings, they can take any form that they want. Okay, they can appear to you or appear to anybody in a form that will be most recognizable. So they acknowledge the humanness of the mind and how the mind perceives things. And then they will basically show themselves in a form that is recognizable so that we can communicate on that level and kind of don't go into this like, oh my God, there's an alien shock, that kind of thing. So a fluid design is purely energetic. That would be above 5th dimensional. Okay. Now, what we are achieving at the moment is very unique. We've decided on this planet collectively to experience the ascension process in physical form. Now, this again is unique to our time and space. It doesn't usually work like that. Okay, if you look at the old definition of ascension, to ascend would mean to leave your body, which ultimately in the 3rd dimensional reality that we used to know and love so much meant death. Okay. I'll never forget my good friend Polaris AB explaining to somebody at a very early workshop, like, you know, how do I ascend? What's the fastest way to ascend? And he said, well, throw yourself in front of a bus. You know, back in the older ways of explaining ascension, that's what you had to do. You had to physically leave your body. So you would pass over, the physical shell would no longer be relevant, and you'd move into your light form. But what we are doing is maintaining our physical form. Okay, we've agreed to experience that. We've agreed to experience life on Earth in physical, but in an ascended and enlightened form, because the human form and this planet are so beautifully unique that we've decided that we're going to continue that experience. And only you and I and everybody else here will uncrack that code and what that actually means for us when we finally get there. Obviously things will change. What our bodies need, what our bodies take in, the world around us will alter ultimately to our vibration a little bit further down the line. But this is uncharted territory. We are in an experimental phase and moving very, very quickly, far quicker than any other planetary system that has gone through the ascension process has actually done it before. If you take for example the Sirius, the Sirius system went through the ascension process a considerable time ago, but they are what we would regard as non-physical now. I mean, Sirius and the learning plays of Sirius and the halls of learning, which many of you will associate Master Cthulhu with, are 7th dimensional. So they are in light form. If you ever visit there, or if you're ever familiar with the universities of Sirius, you go there and you kind of like tune into it, and all of a sudden this incredible light city opens up before you, but it's fluid in design. It's almost like it builds itself in front of you, and these learning planes are very, very specific. They are allocated to learn, grow and evolve with whatever you need to learn and basically embody on your ascension process, whatever you're going through in the universe. So there's my little shout out for the universities of Sirius, if you ever fancy signing yourself up at night, if you're not done so already. It's a lot of you listening to this will already be very familiar. You might have incarnated having served and trained at the height of the halls of learning, the universities of Sirius, and Diana Cooper and I wrote about them extensively in the second book that we wrote together, The Archangel Guide to Enlightenment and Mastery. And we looked at the halls and what they involve and how we learn there, and basically the prospectus or the curriculums that are taught to aspiring people who penultimately are coming down to this planet or another planet to take on a master role or a master lifetime. So that is just kind of tidies up what the questions that I was asked about it, about the Monadic Invocation. It's a very, very powerful invocation. So I say it every morning when I wake up at the moment, because what I need to do at present, particularly with the energies like they are, is get in my body as fast as possible and get in a mode or a zone where I am working at the highest frequency. And I think a lot of you will resonate with this in one way or another. The energy is very, very dense and very changeable in the 3D capacity around us, but there is also an incredible amount of fifth dimensional energy that is available, but you've got to kind of jump on it and set that intention the second your feet hit the carpet after you get out of bed in the morning. And so I found that invocation: I am the monad, I am the light divine, I am love, I am will, I am fixed design. And I repeat that over and over again until I'm clear and I'm set and I'm grounded in that energy in the morning. And that will be that will be of great service to all of you, especially with what's coming up at the moment energetically. Of course, you know, normally I talk about what is going on in the world around us, and I'm just going to touch on it a little bit about keeping focused, keeping your light as high as possible, keeping in divine alignment to the absolute utmost and the best of your abilities at all time, because the pressure is on now. The pressure is on between now and particularly the winter solstice. The winter solstice is like, when we're talking about it, it's almost like it comes with the same packaging and the same kind of impetus as the Lion's Gate does, or the spring, the spring equinox, or any of these other periods of time, and also the major changes that occur in the summer solstice. The winter solstice is a major one. It always signifies the vastest quantity of Christ light coming down to this planet. And that was the way that it kind of rolled every single year, every single winter, from the point of the cosmic moment onwards, so 2012 onwards. They just gradually got more powerful. The volume of light that we received increased, and this year is not going to be any different. It's going to be an absolutely, completely new platform of energy to work with. That takes about 3 weeks to actually get used to, for us to acclimatise to it. And believe me, that is a quick turnaround. Usually the quantity of light and energy that's coming in from these incredible spiritual portals and events that we're experiencing would take a lot longer. But we've adapted. We've adapted, you've adapted, I've adapted, everybody else on this planet has now adapted to taking in vast quantities of light in a very, very short period of time, and actually beginning to work with it constructively rather than having to go to bed, which obviously is an option at the moment. You know, sometimes we're kind of like having to take time out and retreat and treat ourselves with love, care and respect, especially if we're being pressured, especially if we're going through initiations and being pushed very hard. So brace thyself for the incoming light, because it doesn't just happen in that 3 week period. It's beginning to build up now. So we've had the 10-10 portal, we've got an 11-11 date, which is going to be extremely significant, and the 12-12 date is also, that's almost like the warm-up, the warm-up round before the solstice. Okay, so all around us in the 3D world, we can see, we can feel, we can sense, we are physically being affected by the pressure that the 3D matrix is placing on all of us to conform to what it wishes to maintain. But we're not doing that. We're breaking out, and I'm seeing more and more evidence on a daily basis of this global wake up. It is spreading like a wildfire. So if you're feeling dismayed or maybe a little bit pessimistic about the news that you are hearing or the perceived level of consciousness of people around you, believe me that over the course of this winter things are going to change quite drastically with the way that the souls around you that may, you know, like we can be quite, it's not the word judgmental, but quite kind of like it's tough for us when we can see what we can see, and we've, you know, like we've been red pilled or whatever other term you want to use. It can be really tough for us to maintain that enthusiasm and that optimism when everybody else around us appears to be just completely tuned in to the illusion and believing what they're being told from the media, believing what the kind of the narrative is presenting to them. That is going to change. It can only sustain itself for as long as it takes for the illusion to collapse, and the quantity of light and pressure that is being applied to that will be, it's disintegrating as we speak. So keep your light high, your frequency clear, and your manifestation sharp. Be focused, be precise, be very, very choosy about what you tune into, the information that you take in, what you watch, what you communicate about, and ultimately, even if it's something that you've had to take on to understand a situation, or basically embrace the kind of the knowledge within it a bit further, make sure that you always return back to your target vibration afterwards. That's very, very important at the moment, that we maintain a unified field vibration of fifth dimensional energy around this planet as solidly as possible, especially over the next 3 months. And the astrology is due to be interesting for January and February too. More cooking pot, more pressurized. It's easy to speculate upon what will occur, or the kind of like the more doom-laden scenarios. What is actually one of the most precise and most difficult pictures to paint at the moment is how life is going to be when all of those 3D things are taken away, or not taken away, but we're no longer choosing to live with them. So that requires our imagination, and it also requires a high degree of trust in the process that we are all experiencing. Okay, now I hope you all have a beautiful weekend. I know there's been a particularly powerful full moon this week. It was a full moon in Aries, and I made a joke on it about Facebook, about my normal Facebook, about the Aries moon kind of hiding behind a cloud and being all dramatic. But it was quite a dramatic moon actually. We all felt that intensity, that fiery energy, and particularly in the causal chakra above the top of our heads, as we take that energy in, the diviner aspect of the lunar light, and we actually utilize it on this planet. So onwards and upwards. I will be back on Monday with a walking meditation for you all. Lots of love, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.